beloved souls, and welcome to another webisode of my story, where I'm telling a fictional version of my story, and we are almost to the end, guys. So, I was telling you how I was getting into astrology, and I was like really resonating with this step astrology thing, which is literally astrology by the day. And Sensei Christopher Witecki, just something about him, my heart sings. It's like him being who he is and embodying his true self makes my heart sing, and once makes my heart say, look, we could do it too, kind of feeling. So not necessarily do exactly what he's doing, which I don't necessarily want to do, but we could embody our true self and live our best life. So that's what he really encourages me to do. And his Serious Joy service, come on, guys, I recommend it so highly. It's only $19 a month. It's cheaper than therapy, and you get way more than therapy could give you. Because therapy, you sit in there and you talk, and then they'll give you like homework assignment type deals sometimes, things to work on, and questions. They ask questions. So, but and it's a lot more expensive than just $19 a month, where Serious Joy is just $19 a month. And that's what I decided I was going to replace therapy with Serious Joy, and I was going to take Serious Joy seriously. And Serious Joy is it's very much a astrology service, and it has so much more than that, though. But it teaches astrology, like very much teaches astrology. And I was just getting into it, learning everything that Serious Joy had to teach and had to offer. And, Christopher Witecki comes from like a Buddhist background. And I don't agree with the Buddhist way of thinking. I'm more Christian than I am Buddhist. And he was getting into the ohms and, everything that helped me along my healing journey, the Christian church calls demonic. So that's why I know that either I'm the Antichrist, either I'm operating under the Antichrist spirit, not the Antichrist, or they're operating under the Antichrist spirit. And it's, it can't, it's got to be one or the other. But I really think that's a story for another day. I truly feel there's one verse that it just stuck out to me for years. Jesus says, depart from me, for I never knew you. And they say, but didn't we cast out demons? Didn't we heal in your name? Didn't we do all these things in your name? And he's like, depart from me, I never knew you. And I think one of us is going to say that, one of us would say, if Jesus said to me, depart from me, for I never knew you, I would say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I would know at that point, well, I'm probably going to go to eternal hell and suffering because that's the Christian theology, and I was wrong, and it sucks, but I wouldn't say, but didn't I do all these things in your name? Because for me in my walk, it would be different. It would be, but didn't I try to become like you? Like, didn't I do my best to try to become like you and to walk with you? And didn't we talk? I guess not. It wasn't you. You're the other one. So I would know at that point that I was wrong. So I just feel like the Christian would say that thing. Like, that's what they would say. It would make more sense for them in that situation than me. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting off subject. I started following Serious Joy, and I got more into spirituality because, at this point, I figured out chakras weren't evil, but chakras help me heal, and chakras line up with colors and numbers, and they line up with the step astrology system, so they line up with the planets, and I started getting into, I started doing Om chants, which again is another thing that Christianity had taught me as a child is demonic, and I just kind of pushed through it. And Om chants are so healing and so awesome for someone who has if you're battling a negative mindset and being able to sit down and meditate is difficult for you because of all the negative thoughts that are constantly going through, ohms is what helped me to be able, they were a tool that I used that helped me overcome my negative thinking and negative mindsets so that I could meditate and move to overcoming them truly. Does that make sense? Like, ohms will help you be able to meditate. And I remember as a child, I watched a movie about, I do believe it's Tina Turner, her husband, Ike Turner, and she found ohms and meditating, and she ended up getting empowered that way. And I just, that part of the movie, it just stuck out to me so hardcore. It was like towards the end of the movie too. And so I was like, I had such resistance towards this too, y'all. I threw such a big fit about the fact that in Serious Joy daily he does these ohms, and oh, it's so and it's so crazy. And just finally, that one part in the movie just stuck out to me. I kept remembering it, and finally I embraced it. I embraced the ohms and found that it helps me to actually quiet my mind to move into the meditation so that I can move into my healing more fully and completely. And so I started doing these ohms, and I started doing just journaling. Well, basically everywhere, every advice I had. I was taking self-help courses, and all the advice I had was journal, 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 write down, write down. So I had all kinds of journals. My daughter started saying, "You're addicted to journals." And I was like, well, there's worse addictions. And my husband's like, "We're going to start a library." I'm like, okay, why not? So yeah, I started journaling, and like channeling, I guess, was the first time I started channeling was through the journaling during this time. And one of the things that came out was, "You're graduating." And I was like, what? I'm graduating? I didn't even know, like, I was in school. I'd gone to college. I have a college degree, but I have no interest in going back into that system. Like, it put so much debt on me, and then I was never able to get a job to the point. And then every time I tried to get a job, it was like, like the real estate thing. You had to pay $20,000 before you're eligible to start working and making money. And by that point, I don't have the money. Now I'm in further debt. And yeah, like it was stuff like that. And I, the idea, I will never go back to the school and the school system ever again. But it got me to thinking, and here I am doing this step astrology stuff, and I bet I can take my knowledge of how classes and stuff are set up, just like I'm taking my knowledge of how therapy and stuff works, like in the journal stuff. With therapy, I'm taking my knowledge in therapy and everything to make sure that I stay mentally healthy, because I'm having these breakdowns and stuff, and I'm not supposed to have them no more because I'm not BPD anymore, but I guess CPTSD has those too. And I want to get mentally healthy, so I'm taking my knowledge of that. And one of the things that always, every time I was at the mental hospital, one of the first things I would do in the morning is journal my feelings. And I'd have to, fill out this feelings report. And then I would do it at night too. And it was just like part of the routine, like journal your feelings, eat breakfast, eat dinner, journal your feelings. It's just a thing. And so I implemented that into my daily reality. And so I was thinking I can take my knowledge of how I implemented everything that I learned from being in therapy to maintaining my mental health. I can take my knowledge of everything that I have from being in university, because I was in university for years. idea was to be a professional student, and always stay in university, but because I love to learn. I love, love, love to learn. But then I learned that I can learn on my own outside of university, and now I'll never go back to university because I don't want to learn in their type of format type thing. But there's something to be said for having certificates, or licensing. And I wish that there was an astrology license. We should have those because right now we just let anyone do basically space weather. We'll let anyone do space weather. Like, it'd be like if we just let anyone be the meteorologist, No, we have the right people that know what they're doing to do it. People that have studied it. So I thought I could take my knowledge of how to do college courses in a 4-year time period. You could do it in 4 or 5 years, honestly. Sometimes it takes longer than 4 years. I'm talking to myself right now. And I decided to put myself through a 4-year college university thing. I thank Spirit for letting me know that I graduated, and I told them I'm ready to go on to college. And I had dreams. I had dreams of like entering into this college and being a new student, and it felt really cool. So I felt like I started my freshman year in 2020. So 2021 was my sophomore year. 2022 was my junior year. And 2023 was my senior year. And because I remember the time of year and everything. It was March. Because it was in March, which is whenever I consider that the new year. I was considering that the new year and working with Spirit before I even started this program. But it was around that time they said I graduated, and so I thought I can step into school with this serious joy stuff, because there's a thing in the app called self-study hall. So I'm thinking, yes, and plus he teaches astrology like left and right with serious joy. And I looked up, how can I become a certified astrologer? And I found this course, mostly from the UK, Udemy, and has all kinds of certificates, every type of certificate you could ever want or dream of. And so I started astrology courses. And this is whenever I learned that tropical astrology is not just made up. It's about where the sun and the moon is. Like, I could go outside tonight and look at the stars and where they're at, and then know where the path of the sun and the moon are to be able to determine and do the calculations to tell you where they are, where they're gonna be, and where they'll continue to be. Also, where they've been. With math. It's math, guys, and it's sacred geometry, which is why it doesn't make any sense. What we do is we take sacred geometries, we take it and we put it into a circle, and then we divide the circle up into 12 aspects. 12 aspects, 30 degrees apiece. That 30 degree apiece is what makes it sacred geometry. This is not reality. We're not taking the stars and wrapping a pie around it and making 12 pieces of pie. So some constellations are longer and shorter, and there's times whenever the sun's not exactly where like we said, the Mazzaroth is where you got to read it where it is. Whenever you add sacred geometry, and I've always believed that sacred geometry was the language of God, like math is the language of God, and whenever you make it the sacred geometry is because you make it pure, and it everything will fit in sacred geometry, because you even it out, you make it pure, you make it's just, I don't know, it's so, like, that's how I would describe it, as pure. But yeah, and learning that, oh my gosh, y'all, I'm in love. I never knew. I've always been in love with math. I've always been in love with the planets. And literally, here's a system of math plus planet. And, guys, math plus planet equals attitudes that numbers had my whole life. So for me, it's like I'm not having to learn this astrology stuff. This astrology stuff is obvious. This is like, yeah, two has been the nurturer the whole time. I'm telling you, two has been the nurturer. And one, what a show off, which totally lines up with Christopher Rateki's step astrology. Two is Cancer, one is Leo. Yeah, yes. And you never, yeah, in numerology, I got certified in numerology. I learned numerology. I learned everything. And, it was like, I knew, I would take 2 to 3 courses at a time. And then I would take 2 to 3 classes a day in each of the courses, just like a university would have it outlined. So, and I made sure that I did the work. And I felt like my major, if there's a major that I had, it was space astrology, space weather. Not really. Astrology, I guess you could say. If I had a major, it would be astrology. And then I was like, what do I want to minor in? And this was so hard because there's like part of me that just wants to learn this stuff and don't really want to minor in it. And then there's a part of me that just wants to, like, I want to minor in other things. Like, I could major in astrology and minor in tarot, right? Because that tarot cards, right? Because I want to do tarot readings and stuff. So spreading yourself out thin means you don't really master. But I really, really, really wanted, and I felt pulled to minor in herbology. And so I started taking herbology classes along with my astrology classes. And I started at One Willow Apothecary, which I totally, totally, totally recommend this woman. She wrote a book, Mirrors to Earth, one of the best books, not affiliated with no one, not affiliated with Series Joy, not affiliated with One Willow, but these are wonderful, wonderful programs and wonderful people that I encountered on my journey. And I'll leave links for these in the bottom of this one. But yeah, oh my gosh. And then, so I started taking her herbology courses, in intuitive herbology and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And she ran you could win the opportunity to take one of her big courses. And this course is like a big course. It's called, watch out, it's called The Pussy Portal. And it teaches all about feminine self-care, feminine health. And I wanted to take all of her courses, but it was the most expensive one. I didn't know. And she ran a winner thing, you could win this course. And so I entered and I won. So I was so happy, and honestly, I still haven't finished that course. I continually am taking it. It is so packed full of information. I see why it's her most expensive course. It literally, and it $250 is cheap for everything that you get. So I'm still taking courses within it. So, but that one I don't take every day. That's the one that whenever I have time, I'll get to. But all the herbology courses, I took them all and I enjoyed it. I learned how to make tinctures, and I learned how to make oils, which I make all the time for me and my sisters. I love my oils. And yeah, it was really, really cool. But also at the same time, my soap shop, I wasn't selling much at the sale barn, and I was just getting so upset. And one day we went to the sale barn and I was just in the wrong attitude, really. And I was talking bad, and I didn't know. I was like, maybe I should go get a job or something. And my husband Dave was like, do what you want. Whenever we went to the sale barn, he would have his birds and they would sell out. like within the first hour. And then we'd have to stay there all day for my soap, and I might sell one or two. And then the second year, like that was the first year, and then there was like nobody there the first year. And then the second year, COVID was over. So like everybody was there, and like everybody in every other booth was a soap booth. And it really confused me because I don't understand why everybody wants to sell soap at once. Why do you see one person selling soap? Do you think that person's getting rich or something? I don't know, but that's part of what I was ranting about. And Dave was just like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I'll support you. And that's always been Dave's attitude. But for me, there's now this part of me that's building within me, and it's like, I want to be a mystic. I want to be a mystic shaman. I really want to. I really do. I always wanted to. I can feel it. I've always wanted to, and I've never allowed it. And why? Because first of all, mystic shamans don't make money in this world, so you shouldn't want to be that. Second of all, like you have to like earn that. It's not something that's earned. It's not something that you like be. It's something that's earned. And another thing is it's evil. It's evil. It's always been evil. So of course you don't want to do that. Like, and I remember this time whenever I was at my friend's house and we were talking about astrology, and this person was explaining it, and she wasn't quite explaining it right, and it was frustrating me. And I was like, how do I know that she's explaining it wrong? Like, I don't even know astrology. And she was like, and there's more to it, but you would have to have an astrologer to tell you that. And I remember thinking, you're an astrologer, you should tell them. And I dismissed it because I'm like, yeah, I'm not an astrologer and I should not tell them. Like, it's just, I felt like what she said was wrong, and I don't know. I just remember the feeling of that. And I don't know, everybody wants to be a shaman, right? Like, what am I saying? I want to be a star, Everybody wants to be a star. I want to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be a rock star. That's the type of thing that I feel. But I don't want to be a rock star. I don't want to be a movie star. I want to be an Abraham Hicks type. I want to be a mystical shaman type. My own type of mystical shaman, whatever that is. I want to let my mystic side out and let it be, but I don't want to get rid of my home and my family and my other side. And Dave's like, I'll support you no matter what. And so it's like, okay, so we'll shut down the soap shop. And I shut it down, and now I'm like $10,000 in debt. I don't know how to tell Dave. He lets me handle like all the finances and stuff, but he gets to where he doesn't trust me because of things like this. I was just broken. I didn't know. And I'm kind of combining 2 years here, because the first year was Serious Joy. It was the 2020 year where it was COVID, so nobody was at the sale barn. I was there with like 2, 3 others, and I would kind of sell, and I was thinking, yeah, well, next year, whenever it's booming, it'll be a lot more. But it was booming with like every other soap seller, so whatever. The first year we had Sensei in his Serious Joy service in Leo season. He calls it I Love Leo season because Leo season's all about love, and it starts with self-love. He has a self-love 40-day series, and in that self-love 40-day series, I follow it every year. And the 2020 year was the first year that I followed it, and that was the first year that helped me get in touch with the fact that I want to be this mystical shaman. Which I don't like that I want to be that, because I'm like, oh, why can't you want to be what you are? Why can't you want to be like a mom that works at the dollar store? You just want to be what you are. Ugh. my ego fights with me, and I guess there's times where it's confusing. Is it my heart that wants to be this mystical shaman, or is it my ego? Because let me tell you, I got a spiritual ego, and in my chart it says I got a spiritual ego, very spiritual ego that is full of itself. So is that what one, and I've got to figure this stuff out, and I work on it. So the first year of the 40 Days of Self-Love was very much about getting to know me and healing me and learning to love me. The second year of 40 Days of Self-Love was just kind of, and it felt like, because I felt broken because the soap shop failure and the debt that came along with it, and I just want to get out from under it. And, Sensei's like, in this 40 days of self-love, he talks about manifestation and how you just have to believe. And, it felt like the beginning was kind of like a begging of spirit to help me pay off this debt. And the end was moving into a believing that I can work with spirit to pay this debt off, that it's possible for me to be able to pay this debt off. So I guess that's where we'll pick up on the next one, but that's all the time that we've got for you today. I thank you guys so much for being here and listening to my story and my journey, and yeah, we'll see where it goes, because we're almost to the now, and then we get to see where it goes for real. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. As always, be blessed with love. As we wrap up this incredible journey together, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Your energy, your love, and your support have made this My Story series truly magical. And before we part ways, I want to take a moment to thank you for spending your precious time with me. Your comments, likes, and shares have warmed my heart, and I'm endlessly grateful for the connections that we've built. Remember, your energy has created a unique and beautiful community here at the Mystic Hillbilly. Now, as we venture forward, I feel it's essential to address something crucial. Unfortunately, the online world isn't always filled with positive vibes. There are scammers out there who may misuse my pictures and pretend to be me. Please be cautious. I will never reach out to you first. The only way to get a reading from me is by reaching out to my official email or website. If someone contacts you claiming to be me, it's more than likely a scam. I would never ask you to pay for a reading in that way. Remember, I believe in truth, integrity, and the law of attraction. If you're meant to receive guidance from me, the universe will guide you to me, and not the other way around. Trust the process and let your intuition be your guide. And before we say our goodbyes, I'd like to humbly ask you for your support. As a new YouTuber, every bit counts. If you've enjoyed our time together, consider donating. The links are in the description. And for just $2 a month, you can unlock exclusive content on my Patreon, including Mystic Message outtakes, full moon and new moon card readings, and a 40-day transformation challenge. Your support would mean the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. Love, love, and more love to each of you. Let's stay connected in the cosmic dance that we call life. Until we meet again, stay blessed, protected, and full of positive vibes. That's all she got.